Hey guys, Gina here. I'm still working through some load layouts, and let me get my notebook and see what I'm working on. So I keep a notebook like this, and then every time I do a layout, and so this book I've only done, I started here, and I keep my list of all the supplies I used for each of these, the picture date and the date I created the layout in here. So what I'm working on now is load for day 17, which was love letter to an inanimate object, and I'm working on load day 18, a mistake that happened that turned out good. So those are the last two load layouts, and then I'll be caught up, so I'm going to try to get those done tonight. And what I did was I pulled the two pictures that I'm going to use. So love letter to an inanimate object, I'm going to scrapbook about my Kindle. I have a tablet, my husband has an iPad, and you know, there's the Kindle Fire out now and all that, but I just love my, it's not the original, it's Generation 2, I think, because my original one that I had actually broke. So this is like a Generation 2, but I have to be honest, despite all of the technology that we have, I just love my original, my Kindle. I love the way it reads. I love that it doesn't even bother me that it's not backlit, because my case has a light on it and it works out just perfectly, and I like that it's not backlit because my eyes don't get tired and I read a lot. So I'm going to scrapbook about my Kindle, and then about the mistake that happened that turned out to be good. I pulled this picture off of a website called itsfordinner.com. No apostrophe, it's for dinner, all one word.com. And they had the recipe for these Hershey Kiss cookies. Well, when I started making Christmas cookies for the first time, I made all of the dough one night and stuck it all in the fridge. And then I pulled the dough out to bake them. And I made these ginger cookies, and then I made these. And somehow or other, I pulled the ginger dough out to make these cookies. So the bottom part, this cake part, or the actual cookie part, was this ginger dough that I made, and then I stuck the Hershey Kiss in that. And obviously it wasn't the right recipe, I used the wrong dough, but I had to make those for like 3 years in a row because everybody liked them so much. So it was a mistake that happened, and then it became something that I just made because people really liked it that way. So I'm going to scrapbook these two photos on different layouts. But what I've done is I've gone through this bag of scraps that I have laying around, and I've pulled out a multitude of all different colors and things here. And then I actually have some of this, just a very neutral brown here with solid brown. And then I have two background papers that I think I'm going to use. For my Kindle, I think I'm going to use this paper from Cosmo Cricket. This is from their 23 collection, and this is the paper called, it's in French. So, 23, I guess, or something like that. Somebody who speaks French will have to tell me how to pronounce that, but 23. Oh, I see. It's all in French. I'm an idiot. Okay, so it's from the 23 collection, and this one's called Paperback, if I just read in English. And then I took 6 years of French and still can't remember how to say those words, but then it's in Spanish as well. So, okay, alright, I learn something new every day. I should edit that out, but I'm not going to. 23 and then paperback, because that fits the theme of reading on my Kindle, so I think I'm going to use that as my background paper there. And then I have this very thin paper, which obviously will need to have some papers added to it for weight to do that picture of the cookies. I don't know who made this. It was just in a pattern paper pack that I have ripped apart, so I'm not sure who the manufacturer was. This was before I started keeping track of the manufacturer. So those are the two 12 by 12 papers that I have, and then I have a collection of different scraps that were in my scrap thing, and we're just going to use this. I'm going to make two layouts. I'll probably work on one, cut the video, and then work on the second one. But these are the papers that I'm going to try to incorporate. And those are the 12 by 12s. You saw the pictures. And then where I'm going from there, I don't know. So that's where we're going to start. And thank you guys for watching and not laughing at me for being stupid with that whole 23 thing. I don't know what I was thinking. It's late. Anyway, so I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you guys for watching. So as you can imagine, the first part of this process is to go through all of these scraps of paper that I pulled out in order to find the ones that I think will work with this photo. And it turns out that more options for me is not necessarily better, because this process takes a long time. But I've been trying to use up my scraps because they basically just sit there, because I get the new paper and I get all excited. I'm like, oh, I want to use the new paper. And then I forget that I have, you know, a stack of scraps that's going to be taller than me soon. So I'm just going through, and it's a lot of just trying to figure out what papers will go. That's a very busy background paper with all the books, but I thought that it fit the theme so well that I definitely had to use that paper. I've been saving that paper actually for a long time. Not to scrapbook the Kindle necessarily. I have a picture of myself that my father-in-law took while we were down vacationing, and I'm laying on the couch reading on my Kindle, and he took a picture of that. And I've been meaning to scrapbook it on this paper, but when this prompt came for the load challenge, I thought, you know what, it's time to use that paper because you may never scrap that other picture. So I cut that pink paper by hand, and it's not going to work. We're going to have to straighten that up a bit. So I'm liking the browns, the pinks, and the yellows, which work well with that background paper. But the background paper is very busy, so I'm trying not to use such busy patterns on this paper that I'm using to mat the photo and to embellish the photo. So I'm just going to go through and try all of these scraps. And I thought about deleting all of this, but again, I get comments where people really like to see the process. So here's the process. And I'm sure you guys all go through it as well when you're scrapping. You know, you try to pick out the best papers that go with your photo and the ones that you like the best. So that's basically all I'm doing here. I like that heart paper is from a Martha Stewart Valentine's Day paper pack, a 6x6 paper pack that I bought last Valentine's Day. So that'd be Valentine's Day 2012. I did a Valentine's Day card swap last year and bought that paper specifically for that swap and haven't used it since. But that's just a scrap from when I made those cards. So here I am going to back. This is Nerdy Bird paper from Sassafras, so it's, you know, been in the scrap drawer for quite a long time. And I backed it on some brown cardstock just to separate it from that. I felt like it needed grounding. Like with that very busy background, I felt like all of the pattern papers that I was going to use to frame the picture really needed some grounding. And then I thought that the brown to the books behind it, it was way too much contrast, so it was like a huge step. So I thought I would soften that background paper up a little bit using some malted milk. That's a paint dauber from Jenny Bolin in malted milk. So I just marked the paper where I knew my pattern papers were going to lie or lay, whichever is proper English there. And I just then painted a frame around it so that it'll soften up that background paper a little bit without adding yet another pattern. And you can still see through that paint. So here I'm starting to really figure out, or I think I am anyway, I'm starting to really figure out how I want this layout to work. Because I know the background paper is going to be, everything's going to be embellished right here on this, just this square piece, this rectangle here. So the background paper is just off drying, and I know that there it is. And you know I'm not patient enough to wait for it to be completely dry, but it was dry enough. And so I'm starting to lay this out, and I'm actually starting to really like how it's all coming together here. So we're going to pull out the adhesive and start committing to where we have things laid down. And then I ran out of adhesive, so I had to go get some more. And this is my you guys know I use this tape runner more often than any other. I really, really need to put tape in my ATG. I really, really need to get Stu to put tape in my ATG. That's what I need to do. It takes him like 2 seconds. It takes me forever. So, I really need to get him to do that. Maybe I'll do that tonight. So I'm going to pop this one chipboard element up. So one of the chipboard index tabs, that's my favorite, and it's from the My Mind's Eye Lost and Found 3 Olivia collection. No, it's Ruby. I keep getting the Olivia from Basic Grey because Basic Grey's boy collection was Oliver, and so is My Mind's Eye. But Ruby is My Mind's Eye, and Olivia was Basic Grey. But anyway, so I put some washi tape down. I actually didn't have to pick up any elements to get it down there. That was shocking. But I used some lace pink and transparent washi tape, and now I'm looking for a journaling card to do some journaling. And these journaling cards are old. They're from Jenny Bolin. I got them in a blog sale from Lisa Dickinson. They were in the last blog sale she had. They were in my box. But the color worked well, and even though that Nerdy Bird paper is kind of cream, I know a lot of people have discussions about cream and white, putting them together. I thought in this case they worked together. But then of course the thought came in my head, and I'm like, oh, it's really, really bright white against all of the creams in this photo, in this layout. So maybe it doesn't work as well as I was thinking it did. So I pulled out these KI Memories and these Studio 112, and those Studio 112 journal packs, they were like in that, in those dollar bins. And this is Cosmo Cricket, so I have some more options here. But the Studio 112, I think they're made by KI Memories, and they're just those in the $1 bin at Michael's or Joann's, something like that, a while ago. So I'm going to layer some of these tags here off to the side, and I decided to go with a more cream background than that white because it was bothering me after a while. I think it would have worked, but I'm definitely much happier that I put the cream there. And of course I laid my hand down on the bottom because you see that space down there underneath the tabs. Here I'm thinking, what are you going to do about that space if you put the tags there? So I laid my hand over it to see if I liked the way it looked there, and I did, but I just have to figure out how I'm going to fill in that space. And then here's I said that I didn't have to lift up any elements to put down the washi tape, but I didn't put that washi tape far enough over, so I had to pull it up. I had to pull up that My Favorites index tab, and then put some more washi there. And I'm just popping the top of that one journaling tag, not tab, Gina, tag. And here I'm going, that's my brad basket. I'm going through all my brads to see if I can find some brads that work with this layout. And I know that I have the ones from this collection, I'm pretty sure. Or I thought I did. Yeah, there they are. The Lost and Found 3 Ruby from My Mind's Eye. So they match all of the other elements. And then that's my bin I keep all of my pink chipboard shapes in. And it's just a hodgepodge of, it's just a hodgepodge. Yeah, there we go. Hodgepodge of stuff in there. I don't know what I'm going to do with those rub-ons. Do you see them there? Those Hambly screen print rub-ons of those jars? I really don't know what I'm going to do with that. I thought I might use that clip, and that didn't work. So I'm just going through and looking for things that I can use for embellishments, and then eventually just put that whole thing away and don't... Because I'm really trying to think of how I'm going to fill that space up there at the bottom underneath those tags. You can tell I haven't had any caffeine today. So I decided just to add another one of those brads there that have the paper borders around them. And then I'm going to add another brad. Just add a little brad cluster there. And I really love it when I get to use these things. Like when I remember that I have them, and two, I actually put them down on a layout. I'm like, yes, finally. And I'm just looking, I'm thinking that there needs to be a brad up in that, there you go, up in that upper right hand corner. So, and now that's the Stampin' Up! Foam square that goes with that their stitching template set thing. So what I'm doing is right now I'm just using that brad setter, the pointed end of that brad setter, to mark on the layout where the holes need to go, and then I put that piece of foam underneath of it and then punched it through the layout. Sometimes I take here you go. I'm going to take the tines off of the back, or whatever you call those, prongs maybe, off of the back of that brad there, because I wanted it to lift up over the other two. So I just took the prongs off and then put it up on some dimensional adhesive. And now I'm just going to add the date with my handy dandy Office Depot date stamp. There's all my Memento inks. I get ink all over my hands right here because they got stuck in that container. So we're just going to put the date on there, and I'm going to pop that flag up with a foam adhesive on the end, add that other brad there, put some stuff away, and do my journaling here about how much I love my Kindle. The challenge was to write a love letter to an inanimate object, and I don't know. I think in the middle of this I forgot that it was supposed to be in letter format, but it talks about how much I love my Kindle and when I got it and all that kind of good stuff. So there's my journaling. And now I'm going to add the title. I'm using some Prima letters. I wrote out the word companion because I wanted to make sure that I spelt it correctly, because I was going to spell it backwards and I didn't want it floating, so I took some more of that washi tape and just added it above that flag so that my title didn't appear to be floating in midair. So I wrote the word companion out on the backing of those adhesive squares, so that I could make sure that I got the spelling of the word companion correct, I mean, especially since I was spelling it backwards. And then my letters, they overlap onto the picture, and then on the picture they're kind of floating, but I don't think it looks that bad. And then I'm going to add the word reading. So the title of this page is Reading Companion. So companion, I started on the right and went right to left because I wanted to make sure that I had enough space for that word to fit. And for the word reading, I knew where I wanted the word to start. So then I went left to right when I put the word reading in there. And now I'm off doing something. Oh, I'm looking for bling. And of course, I'm going to add twine to those tabs. Tags, Gina. They're tags. I'm going to add twine to those tags because that's what I do. You've seen most of my layouts. If I use a tag, I put twine through the top. And that twine's from American Crafts. I got it at where was I? Home Goods. And they had like the 20 rolls or something for like $10. So I picked that up. So that's where that twine is from. It's American Crafts twine. And then these are from Kaiser Craft, this bling. And then that's basically it, I think. Yep, there it is. So here's a picture of the final layout. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave me any questions or comments down below, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.